What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the We Sport Podcast. And today we have our special guest. We have Jack Gohlke from the University of Oakland. Man, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. Excited to be here and super excited for the tournament this year. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Before we even start, who do you think is gonna win the national championship as of right now? Unbiased opinion. Who do you think's winning it?
Before I've seen the bracket, I'm going to go with I think Arizona. They've had an amazing year. Obviously, they've got a
Mhm.
super balanced team.
Mhm.
They can guard, they can score it inside, outside. I think Arizona is probably my pick, and then I also am a big fan of Houston. I think they're obviously a tough out whenever and made it to
Yeah,
the championship last year. So I think it's going to be someone from the Big 12.
yeah. I mean, I think that the Big 12 conference, if there's not a champion out of that Big 12 conference this year, after all of them have been at the top of the AP poll the entire season, I don't know, man. I don't know what you do at that point. But yeah, no, man, we want to just get underway, kind of ask you about your career. We want to ask you about your time in March Madness, your come up to March Madness. And kind of want to start it off. So Gavin, we'll start off with the first question and then kind of just move forward.
All right, so what was your recruiting process like? Were you only getting D2 offers? Did you have any D3s, D1s?
Yeah, so when I was coming out of high school, I was I would guess I would say the real period of my recruitment was my 17-year-old year playing AAU,
Mhm.
when I was just finishing up my junior year of high school, basically. And at that point, I was a good player, but it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't have any stars. I wasn't listed on any rankings websites or anything like that. And I was just getting recruited mostly by a couple D2 schools and then a lot of D3 schools. I could have gone to pretty much any D3 school in Wisconsin, where I'm from, that I wanted to. And
Yeah.
there's a bunch of really good D3 programs there that I definitely considered. But I didn't have any D1 offers or interest really. And Hillsdale College, the school I ended up going to, was the only D2 school to offer me a full ride. So I'm super glad looking back on it that I went there, because my time there was amazing and I loved the people there and got to play a bunch of great basketball. But at the time, it was all right, this is my scholarship offer, and I can't say no and then go pay for school. I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of a weird decision to make. So I was
Yeah, that's
excited
fair.
to have an offer, and I took it, and then was able to just play my senior season without having to worry about all that type of stuff. And
Mhm.
the finish of my high school career was a lot of fun, but yeah, I was definitely excited to get to go to Hillsdale, but I didn't know too much about it until I actually got there. So the recruiting process probably wasn't as crazy as it is for some people, but I think I ended up at a good place.
Yeah, no, that's neat. I mean, it's crazy to always see people's stories, especially from like D3, D2. You see it in college football, you see it in college basketball, and those people do not get looked at. And then it's like then they go and make their mark and whatnot. And I want to ask you, when did you feel like when you were playing in D2 ball? When did you feel like I made my mark in D2 to where I can take that next level and they take that next step to Division 1 basketball and give that a chance?
Yeah, so I thought I thought I was really good. Oh, when I get here, I'm gonna be playing right away and contributing and maybe even starting, whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of was in for a rude awakening. I redshirted my first year. Like my coach basically told me, you don't have to redshirt, but you're not gonna play, so you might as well save the year of eligibility. So I redshirted my first year, and kind of that was a tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, it was one of the best things for me, because it gave me an opportunity to spend a season improving and working on my game and working on my body and all that stuff without having to worry about each game, oh, am I going to get in, and do I need to be prepared, all that type of stuff. Of course, you want to play, but honestly, especially when you're an 18-year-old who just got done with high school and now you're playing against high level college players and guys that have been doing this for a while, it can be really hard to sit at the end of the bench and not know if you're going to get 3 minutes or no minutes or 7 minutes that day. So I think redshirting was good for me, because it just kind of let me calm down, just focus on working out and getting better rather than worrying about games. And
Yeah.
I think then just over the course of my career, I had to keep getting better and better. And my junior year, we went on a really good run as a team. We made the Division II Elite Eight, and
Mhm.
made a bunch of noise. And after that, I think I maybe could have left, but I was never really thinking about it. I wanted to finish my degree at Hillsdale, and I had so many great teammates and coaches who invested in me and helped me improve. So it was always a priority for me to come back for my senior season. And then after my senior year, I knew I was going to graduate, and I knew that I had one more year of eligibility left because of COVID, because of the red shirt and all those factors mixed in. So I was just trying to find somewhere where I could go to grad school, but also jump up a level, like you said, and try myself at the Division I level, because that's what everyone always wants to strive for, and try yourself against the best. So it really kind of just came together because of the timing of everything. And then I ended up at Oakland because my coach at Hillsdale knew Coach Campy pretty well, and basically just told Coach Campy, like, I have the perfect player for you, and how you guys play. And I'm glad that the connection worked out like that.
Yeah, no, that's actually sick. And I know what's it called? Coach Campy, I heard, is an absolute legend over there, and when he coached
Really?
there and whatnot. And kind of wanted to ask you too, just to kind of go off of that. Was there any specific game that you had in D2 where you were just like, I could do this D1, like I could go and play this D1 without a doubt, like I can do what I just did today at the Division I level in March Madness in Division I basketball?
That's a good question. I would say, like, I mean, I definitely had games that like stick out, just that kind of like define my career in a way. But I don't know if there were specific games that made me think afterwards, like, I can go, like, for sure go D1 and whatever. I think like our conference and our level that we played at in Division II was really good. Like we actually had, probably in that conference, we probably had each year like at least 5 players transfer to Division I schools and like make a real impact.
Oh,
So it was high level basketball. But there was one game that I remember. We were playing a school called Ashland from Ohio, and it was kind of just like a microcosm of my career. I felt like, especially looking back on it, I think in the first half I was like 1 for 7 or something like that from 3, and just really struggling. And it was a team that was really good that we always had rivalry games with, close games with. And at halftime, I remember like we were trying to figure it out. What do we got to do better? And the other team was like going under against me on screens, and I was throwing bricks, and my teammates were like, oh, like we gotta stop shooting early threes and whatever. And I like, looking back on it, I guess it was kind of like maybe like a dick answer by me, but I was just like, dude, if they're gonna go under, like I'm gonna keep launching. Like they can't. That's so disrespectful. Like blah blah blah.
yeah.
And in the second half, I think I was like 9 for 12, and I finished making like 10 out of 19 for the game or something like that. So just thinking back to that game was maybe one where I was like, okay, like I'm confident in my abilities. Like I know things aren't going to go perfect all the time, but I know like in the long run, things will pay off, and my work will like do the talking.
Yeah, no, that's fire. That's fire. So yeah, now moving on. If you want to move on now it's that one. Yeah.
Thinking back on like that junior year where y'all made the Elite Eight, how was playing in that atmosphere to playing in the round of 64 versus Kentucky and then the round of 32 versus NC State? Like how much difference was the tournament in the Elite Eight in Division II versus Division I?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely night and day in terms of
Yeah.
media coverage, fanfare, like all that type of stuff. Like the Division II Elite Eight is, I mean, I don't know, like it's really the fans of it's like your parents and stuff, and like the fans of your school that are like diehards that will come. So like, but we played in, I think it was Evansville. It's a nice arena, but like completely empty and all that stuff. So it's like a weird comparison, especially like you said to March Madness. Like you got sold out 18,000 seat arena, and then everybody's watching on TV too. But I would say, like, just because that's the case with the fanfare and stuff, of course, like that stuff is amazing to have in the D1 tournament, and it's what makes it so special. But as a player, like in the moment, those are the games that we had been working for 3-4 years, however long we had been at Hillsdale, to get that opportunity. And the Elite Eight of Division II is like the pinnacle. So to get there and to play on that stage, like just because there weren't people in the stands, we still felt all the pressure. We still felt like all the weight of the moment and stuff like that. So I think like obviously the people in the stands might not have gotten us prepared for a March Madness type game, but the pressure and the experience of being able to play in important tournament games, like no matter where you play, I think is really helpful in building your experience and kind of knowing where things will fit.
Yeah, I mean, it, like you said, night and day. I mean, obviously, you're either going from a from a crowd of like what, maybe 100, 500 maybe to D2,
Like
and then
maybe 500 to like 18,000.
yeah. So then you go into the round of 64 and you're playing in. Now, where did you guys play first game
We
at?
played in Pittsburgh in the Penguins Arena,
Oh,
PPGP.
neat. Now, would you say that was the biggest arena you had played in at that time, or back then, or no?
I don't know for sure. Like I had played our season at Oakland. We played a couple games at like we played at Ohio State, which it's not an NBA arena, but it's basically the same size.
Oh,
We
yeah,
played
I would
at
imagine, yeah.
a couple other schools that were like about that size
Yeah,
arena. But in Pittsburgh, they have a beautiful arena there, and one of my favorite places.
yeah, no, neat. So now, I wanted to ask you now, kind of transitioning over to going to your time in Oakland. So obviously, once you hit the portal, what other schools kind of reached out to you, and what kind of made you decide to go to Oakland? I know you already had mentioned of Coach Campy, but was there anybody else that was kind of in your lineup, or how did that all transpire?
Yeah, so before I entered the portal, I honestly had like no idea where I would end up. I didn't really have any like leads or anything like that. I mean, I was like a good Division II player who like I knew I would have opportunities, but I wasn't good enough to where like people were tampering or like messaging me during the year and stuff
Yeah.
like that, like some stories you hear. Um, so I it really getting to Oakland really was all about that connection between Coach Tharp, my coach at Hillsdale, and Coach Campy, and the connection of them knowing each other, and Coach Campy kind of seeing me as a player that he's had in his program, or an archetype, I guess you could say, that he's had in his program a lot before. But I then got other offers too. I got an offer from Lipscomb, Southern Illinois, and like some MVC type schools, some OVC schools. And then a lot of schools, like a lot of the smaller kind of mid majors out east.
Hmm.
I can't think of what the conference is called, but like the Vermonts of the world, and Maine, and like those type of schools.
What is that?
Um,
What is that conference? I'm trying to
I think
think.
like maybe
They
the
play in a smaller
the
division.
MEAC or the
Yeah,
something like
it's
that.
something like
So for me, it really came down to Lipscomb was another school that I was interested in Oakland.
Mhm.
And I definitely think Lipscomb they have a great program and a great coach too, and I definitely considered them, but it just made too much sense, like Oakland, not to go to Oakland. I think all the stars are kind of aligned with the play style, how Coach Campy wanted me to play, and how he
Yeah.
wanted to use me, and also the talent that was already there in Trey Townsend, Chris Conway, Blake Lampman, Rocket Watts, like all those guys. They had a really good already mid-major roster, and I kind of saw like exactly where I could fit in and add value to the team. So I was super excited to go there, and then once I got there, we kind of just hit the ground running and try to improve as much as we could over the summer and make things happen.
Yeah, no, that's neat. I mean, you play with former Michigan State guy Rocket Watts. I mean, that kid's tough, man. But I want to
He was
ask
my
you, one of
roommate. He was my roommate at Oakland.
no, actually, that's actually so tough, dude. I
Yeah.
remember when they recruited him, when Michigan State got him, and like the first time, I thought like, I was like, man, like right after, because he was like, I think right before he was in the time of Cassius Winston was still at Michigan State, and then once Cassius was gone, I'm like, wow, like we're set because we're gonna get Amani Bates, Rocket Watts, and that just it never worked out, and it was so sad. But I want to ask you a quick question from our guy Broad. I kept reading it to myself over and over again because I didn't understand what he was saying, but you might understand what he was saying.
Okay.
So he goes, what was your favorite moment hanging out with the Barstool guys, and why did you keep trolling Rocco about sleeping?
Okay. I know what he's asking.
Okay. So it makes sense.
So I went to like the Barstool office in Chicago after everything happened and watched, like, I don't know if it was the Final Four or maybe it was like this Elite Eight or something like that with the guys, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time there. They were like super welcoming, super cool guys, just kind of exactly like they are on camera. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I had always, like, of course I know about Barstool, like listen to
Yeah.
PMT and stuff like that, but I've never been like a diehard, like, I don't know. I had never listened to every podcast they have or like
Yeah.
known all the people that are there. But one of my close friends is like a diehard Stoolie, as they would call him, or you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, hey, can I like bring my buddy? Like he's a big fan of your guys and everything. And they were cool with it, which was super nice of them. So I was excited to like be able to bring him and kind of give him that experience. But he then told me like, hey, there's a guy on the stream who like fell asleep. I don't know if it was like a month before during a stream, and they all like gave him a hard time about it and stuff like that. So he like told me a couple like jokes to say during his stream. He's like, everyone's gonna love this when you say it, whatever. And then it was like halftime, and I just said, I don't know, something about him taking a nap, and everyone loved it. Everyone started dying, and then I'm trying to think of, I think his name's Rico. And then all of his fans afterwards were like destroying me on Twitter, like making fun of me, like don't talk to him, whatever. So that was funny. Like that whole, of course, their whole business is just like having fun and giving each other a hard time. So that was definitely fun.
Dude, I mean, their job is like the easiest job of all time. They just either they gamble half the day, they sit in front of a couch and watch sports, and they just do whatever the hell they want, dude. Dude, their life is something I want to live one day. Just for one day, bro. For one day. Just not do the employment life, just do what they do. But now, moving on now, we're kind of going to move on to your season in Oakland. We're going to start it off with the first question here from Gavin, and then we'll just kind of keep going down the list here.
So before the season, were y'all feeling good about winning the Horizon League, or did y'all just happen to get hot at the right time and y'all were just like playing really well together?
Yeah, I think like, so I obviously hadn't played in the Horizon League before, but I had always, one of my best friends played at Wright State for 4 years. So like I had watched a ton of Horizon League basketball the previous couple of years and kind of knew a lot about the league. And then we also had, like I said, those guys on the team who had been there for multiple years and knew exactly what to expect with the league. So I think like once we got through our first maybe month or so of summer practices and we kind of had a feel for each other and kind of the level that our team was going to be at, I think at that point we all realized and kind of set the bar of like it's championship or bust this season. Like we knew we had a really good team, and we knew if we didn't win it and go to the tournament, then we would be like really disappointed with the result. So we kind of put that pressure on ourselves, I guess, and we're excited for the season and for the chance to compete. And we had a really tough non-conference schedule that prepared us well, I think, and we got a Power 5 win at Xavier that year, and some other really good games against like Illinois and Ohio State, those type of teams. And I think like if I remember right, I think we started conference like 1 and 2 or something like that. And then after that, I think we went on a big win streak and finished the year really strong. But I think all along we were expecting big things, and we just were able to then capitalize on our talent and on our togetherness as a team. And I think one thing that really actually helped us was we took like an overseas trip before the year started to Italy. And it's not like we played any like crazy good teams over there that prepared us in a special way, but it was more just like we had a decent amount of transfers, and then we had some guys who had been there for a while. So kind of trying to mesh everybody together and have like 10 days of everybody has to be together and experience things together and grow together. I think that was really helpful for us to just understand each other and build that chemistry that's so important in college basketball.
Dang, dude, that's some elite team bonding right there. Going to Italy, bro. Dang, I wish I did that back in grade school, man. Go to Italy. What part of Italy did you go to?
We went to Rome, Florence, and Venice. It was awesome. It was amazing.
And I bet you can't even go to an Italian restaurant after that, right? Like after that, like after you come back to America, you're like, what is this shit that I'm eating right now?
The food there was elite, 100%.
How long were y'all there?
I want to say about 10 days, something like that. We spent like 3 or 4 days in each city.
Oh, dude. And I went to Italy not too long ago, and the only thing I will say, it was super amazing. The experience is awesome, but the humidity out in Europe is probably the worst thing I've ever dealt with in my life. It's not a joke out there, Absolutely. Man. It's awful. It's awful. But going into now to the next question here, so you guys went into the season, you guys had a lot of non-conference games that like were super, super difficult. You said you got to win it against Xavier, but how is it going into, playing at Illinois and playing, you said, no, you didn't play at Illinois. It was Ohio State, right?
Yeah, we played at Illinois and Ohio State.
But played at Illinois, played Ohio State. You played Michigan State at Michigan State. You went to the Breslin Center. How was those atmospheres like? And like, did that kind of prepare you for down the road going into conference play and going on the road against conference play?
Definitely. I think, I mean, that's really like Coach Campy's strategy in general. He always tries to schedule like really high level teams at the beginning of the season. I mean, this year, I think they played Purdue, Michigan, and Houston like their first 3 games. So like that's really his strategy. Is he's trying to get the best teams in the country and trying to, of course, he wants to win, but he kind of wants his team to get demoralized in a way and like try to get back up and everything is just kind of easier after that because you can't have a tougher schedule. So for us, it was it was really important, I think, for a lot of reasons. Like, for one, it did prepare us for conference, and to be able to, if we can compete against these highest teams at the highest level, we can compete in our conference and win our conference. But also, he looked at it as well from a perspective of, if we want to really accomplish our true goals of winning some games in the NCAA tournament, then we got to be able to compete with these teams straight up. Like, we can't just be, oh, we were close and then we can go win some conference games. Like, we wanted to win those games every time we went into them. So
Yeah.
playing in those hostile environments and big arenas, like we talked about earlier, and against teams with better athletes and whatever it may be, it really helped us build our experience on experience that we already had, and kind of be those savvy vets that could get an upset whenever we needed to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember back when that was the 2023-2024 year where Michigan State lost to like James Madison week 1, and then you guys came into Breslin a few weeks later, and I know that the game at the beginning was like back and forth, and then it kind of got pulled away from that. Yeah, I mean, so going into like that environment, because like I said, I'm not trying to make a bias on Michigan State, but like playing in that atmosphere, it's probably super difficult, right? I mean, knowing just kind of how the fans are, how is Izzo really that upset all the time when he gets on that court and starts yelling? I know you probably have to have seen it firsthand.
To be honest, like, I don't want to disappoint you with my answer, but I've kind of just like blocked that game out of my memory, because I personally sucked in that game. As a team, we sucked in that game, and like,
That's fair.
Obviously, we talk like the season was so fun, and it was such an amazing season in so many ways. Like, that was one of the parts that I kind of just like try to block out of my memory. So I do remember like the Breslin was maybe the toughest place to play that year. Like, Illinois was really tough too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like I just pushed it out of my memory.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, now we'll kind of move on to this next one here.
So I seen y'all. He mentioned Rocket Watts, who played at Michigan State. How was playing with him and Trey Townsend? Because Townsend was a beast last year at Arizona. So how was it like playing with them, and how did they help you like in your game?
Before I answer that, I just want to say Santa Clara is going to be in the round of 32. They got Kentucky in their first game, so. But no, it was awesome. Rocket was a guy. It was funny when I like told my friends from Hillsdale that I was going to be going to Oakland. A couple of them were big Michigan State fans, and they were like, "No way! Like, you're gonna meet Rocket Watts, like blah blah blah." And then I told them that like I was roommates with him. They thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So that was definitely funny. But Rocket, I mean, he's an awesome player. I wish he hadn't really experienced as many injuries as he had, especially like before he got to Oakland, because I think like he's so talented that he really could have continued climbing levels and stuff like that. But he was an awesome player, but honestly, like an amazing teammate, one of the best teammates we had. He was always rooting for everybody else, encouraging everybody else, whether he was on the floor or off the floor. And Coach Campy was pretty hard on him just because he expected a lot. So there were definitely times where things didn't go his way, but he was still an amazing teammate. So I'm really glad to have met him and be close friends with him. And Trey also, like, Trey is one of my best friends now to this day. And I actually have been lucky enough when I joined the Texas Legends, he was on the team, and I got to play with him for like a month or so before he actually got traded to Salt Lake. But I mean, he's a tremendous player. Obviously, he had a good season at Arizona too after his career at Oakland. But to play with him and to see him like have such an amazing year, player of the year in our conference, MVP of the tournament, and then to be named like mid-major player of the year, were all things that he deserved and things that he earned throughout the year that I played with him. But then also just talking to guys and him and coaches of things that he earned like in the years before as well. So I felt super fortunate to play with those two. And then some of my other teammates there also, Chris Conway, Blake Lampman, DQ Cole, a bunch of like really good players and guys that like we wouldn't have been able to be successful without those guys. So I think like we really had a really talented and well-rounded roster, especially at the mid-major level to make some noise. And I'm glad that we were able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, no. So you mentioned, Kentucky. You said Santa Clara. They're gonna go to the round of 32. They're playing Kentucky.
I gotta pick Santa Clara.
Yeah, so I want to ask you because I mean you are in a and I don't remember how many times Kentucky has lost when they're supposed to have won in this tournament. But they had you're on a list of like legends that have done it. Now I want to ask you going into that Kentucky game though, what was your guys' game plan around like their guard play like Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd? Like what was your guys' like game plan around them? Because obviously, I mean, those were two very talented guards. They both went for top 15 in the NBA draft, and you guys sent them home. So what was your guys' game plan around that, and how did you slow them down?
Yeah, it was. We really prepared for it like any other game the whole season. And I think that's a testament to Coach Campy's experience, and he had been through every possible scenario. So he knew, like, with an experienced team like us, he really just needed to treat it like any other game. And of course, we like watched a lot of film and we prepared and built our game plan around how talented those guys were. But we didn't like do anything too crazy or too special. We really just wanted to keep the ball out of their hands as much as possible, as any team would want to.
Yeah.
And we knew, I think going into it, they were the best 3-point shooting team in the country based on percentage. So we really were trying to keep as Antonio Reeves, Rob Dillingham, and Reed Shepherd, like just keep them off the line. Don't let them get clean looks. And I think we did a really good job, like especially in the first probably 25, 30 minutes of the game of forcing them to score like in the high post area around the free throw line. Of course, like they got with their athletes and stuff, they got some dunks, they got some easy buckets, but the way we play our zone defense, like we really did a good job kind of confusing them and giving them all different types of looks. Sometimes we would trap Dillingham up top, or we would trap Reeves when he caught it or whatever, and try to run Shepherd off the line. So just trying to kind of mix things up and use our experience to our advantage. Of course, like those are extremely talented players, but the two freshmen and Dillingham and Shepherd, I mean, they were 18, 19 years old, guys who had, of course, they played in big stages and stuff like that, but I mean, we had never played in March Madness either, but we had a bunch of guys who had played in dozens of like postseason college basketball games, whereas this was like their first one. So
Yeah.
I think like sometimes that experience really is a factor, and not even necessarily just like in making shots, but in knowing what things are going to look like, where can you get your shots in these type of games, all that type of stuff. So I'm sure you could say like in some ways we were lucky because they missed some shots, but also I think we did a good job with our preparation.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to sit there and say they missed some shots or you were hitting some of the craziest things I've ever seen back then, man. But yeah, no, kind of want to go into this one question now, kind of you talking about their shots and whatnot. But
before I get to this next question, how is it like playing against DJ Burns and stuff? I know y'all lost in overtime, but like, did he talk trash? Like, how was he like?
That's a tough game to look back on. At the time, we were obviously super disappointed that we lost, but we weren't like so upset because it was like, okay, like we can't be mad about how this weekend turned out. Like, of course we wanted to win 2 games and we had the mindset we expected to do it. But then when we see them go on to the Final Four, it's like, dang, like that should have been us. Like we should have had a much bigger run. But playing against DJ Burns is tough. I mean, he's an awesome player. Like it's one of those guys where, of course, maybe it's a little unconventional, like I guess like myself in ways too, but just like he's as advertised, like super soft touch around the rim, great passer. He's so big, you can't really keep him out of his spots. Like if he wants to go somewhere on the floor, he's going to get there.
yeah.
So just we were trying to win that game through just making things tough on him, but then forcing his teammates to beat us. And in the end, they did end up beating us, but we came really close. And unfortunately, we didn't get it done in regulation, and then they got us in overtime. But the one thing I'll never forget about DJ Burns is like just one specific play in the game in our zone. Like I was on the backside, and I like had closed out on someone, and then the ball got skipped to the other side. So he had like inside position on me for a rebound, and I'll never forget like trying to get around him to get the rebound. But I felt like he was so big, I had to take like 3 steps to get around him. Like it wasn't like you could just kind of slide around him. Like he took up so much space that you really had to like make an effort to get all the way around him.
Dude, that's insane because he was gross. I mean, you were tough as yourself as well. But I want to ask you this. And I asked the same question to Doug, and I'm gonna ask you the same question as well. Obviously, in March Madness, you have like the legends and whatnot. Obviously, you are one in yourself as well. How do you feel like you left your mark on college basketball? And like looking back at it, you're like, damn, like I didn't realize what I did back then was so big until like after it happened and all that. So like, when was that kind of like moment to you? If you want to like explain that for me.
Yeah. I mean, going into it, like and I've told a lot of people this, but like I never had any idea like what things could look like if we won or if I had a crazy game or something like that. Like all of us on our team, like we just approached the game the same way of like, hey, this is like a huge opportunity, a huge basketball game for us. But
Mhm.
I don't think any of us looked at it from like a superstar from this or I can become a legend from this. It was just like, hey, this is Kentucky. Like this is what we've dreamed of as kids. Let's win this game and then let's go win another one. Like
Mhm.
it was never like from a personal fame perspective or anything like that.
Yeah,
But then
yeah, no, for sure.
for me, like afterwards, I didn't fathom kind of what had happened until like I feel like months later.
Mm,
Things changed overnight for sure. Of now kids were asking for pictures, autographs, like can I have your shoes, can I have your jersey, like all this type of stuff that I had, especially coming from D2, like I had never experienced any of that. I was
yeah,
always just playing for the love of the game, and there weren't too many people in the stands. But to be able then to like make someone's day just by taking a picture or something as simple as that was
mhm,
something really cool for me. And I felt really blessed that was something I was able to do, something so simple.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and it definitely took a while for me to kind of understand it. And even to this day, like it's really cool to hear my name mentioned and see my name mentioned in those kind of conversations. But I still think of myself as like I'm still just a normal, very normal guy who like
yeah,
I try to be as humble as I can, and I know I'm not LeBron James or anything like that. Like I know I'm not a crazy athlete or anything like this. Like
yeah,
just trying to work hard and kind of earn my stripes, and if that makes sense. So it was
yeah,
an awesome experience and something I'm super thankful for. I think some of the coolest things were just getting to do like interviews and media and stuff like that I had watched so much as a kid, whether it was like Scott
yeah,
Van Pelt, Pat McAfee, Rich Sison, like all that type of stuff
mhm.
was super cool, and getting to meet a bunch of people that maybe I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and have those experiences was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I literally the other day, because even then I'm like scrolling on my phone, I was like, it was like I don't even remember what it was. I was like, March Madness is here, but it doesn't feel the same without these group of people. And it was like Doug, it was you, DJ Burns. I don't know why there was Jimmer Fredette. Fredette was in there from like years and years and years
Yeah.
ago. But no, I mean, just saying, because I see you guys' faces on there, and it's been years removed from that, and you guys left your guys' mark on college basketball like that, and that's super unique and amazing that you guys were able to do that. But now going into this next one real quick, this question right here, Gavin, if you want to go into it.
All right. When I feel like every time when Oakland needed a bucket, you either hit like a big three or you like hit a driving kick for a big three. To go up 4 against Kentucky when there's like 40 seconds left. What made you like be so confident and so calm in those situations?
I think it all just came from, I mean, cliche answer, but like our preparation and our trust in each other. Even going back to what I said about like how we built chemistry when we went on that international trip, I think we all just really loved playing together. We all trusted each other to make the right plays. We all had seen it happen hundreds of times in practice of guys making the right plays. And of course, like the shot doesn't always go in, but we always saw each other like making the perfect pass, making the right read, all that type of stuff to where we knew like in the end the results would take care of themselves because we were doing things right. So then I think like as the year went on, we kind of kept winning and things kept going how we expected them to go. Like I said earlier, we expected to win, and as we did, and we ended up winning our conference tournament. I think we couldn't have had more confidence at the time, and I think we had the perfect balance of confidence but not being cocky about it and not
Yeah,
thinking that we couldn't do no wrong.
yeah. Well,
So
real
that
quick, you in that game you did shoot. What was it? You shot no twos, no
yeah,
twos, 10 threes, right? Am I right? 10 threes and got no assists, right? Throughout that entire tournament.
which is I don't know about the whole tournament. I'm honestly, I'm not sure, but I know I had no assists against Kentucky, which is crazy
Yeah,
because
no.
like,
So your March Madness stats, you can hear them again. It was 27 points per game you averaged in the 2 games,
okay.
5 boards, 0 assists.
I didn't get a single assist. That's crazy.
So how many were you obviously, you're a sharpshooter. There's no other way to say it. You're a pure sharpshooter. How many do you remember how many assists you had your last year in Oakland at all? Just out of curiosity, just off the top of the head.
I was definitely like, yeah, I mean, I was playing mostly off ball, so like I definitely didn't have too many assists.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I would say I had to have averaged at least like 2.5.
2.5.
I don't know for sure, but
You want to know?
yeah,
You want to know what the average was after the
I
season?
do. Yeah, you pull it up. What was it?
1.1.
Oh my gosh. I guess I was a little too cocky with that answer.
Dude, yeah, no, I was looking at it and I guess I typed up a little report on the side or whatnot, so I'm looking at it and I'm reading your game logs and all that. And I'm looking and seeing at your assists and I'm like, wow, this brother was MPJ. Like this guy is MPJ. You're now. Who would you say you model your game out?
I would like to say. Sorry, before I answer your question.
No, you're good. You're good.
I would like to say, if you watch the film, and I think I had a lot of screen assists for Trey Johnson and Chris Conway.
Yes. That's fair. But who would you say though your player comp? Who would you say it is? You got any names?
When I was younger, like I loved watching JJ Redick, Anthony Morrow, like Kyle Korver, all those classic.
Damn, Anthony Morrow, what a pull! What a freaking pull, Anthony Morrow.
I was a huge Anthony Morrow fan. So I loved like watching shooters like that and seeing their games. And I think I really modeled my game like around JJ Redick a lot. He obviously did shoot twos and stuff like that, but I feel like if he played in this era, he honestly would have just shot almost all threes because he read the game so well. He shot a lot of 19-foot twos like off screens and stuff like that. But that was just kind of how it was at that time. Like people still accepted mid-range shots, whereas nowadays it's like, okay, let's get to the 3-point line or let's like get to the next action. And he was a guy who like I admired his conditioning, how he was always sprinting around screens, creating things for his teammates, creating shots for himself, and shooting off balance, whether it was to his right, to his left, in transition, like whatever it was. So I watched a lot of tape on him in particular. And are you
sure there was no MPJ clips in any of those at all whatsoever? There was not one Michael Porter Jr. one.
I'm honestly probably not even that much younger than MPJ, so I didn't really watch much of him.
He's like fairly young too, so he's not like over 30 yet, is he? He's still like 20. He's like 26.
So. He's probably like 28, 20, yeah, maybe 26, something like that.
So, real want to kind of get into this last question before we move on. I want to ask one NBA question if you don't mind, but I want to ask one last Oakland question. But as a player coming off the bench, now, did you have any extra motivation going into that, or was that like I don't want to say a you decision because I don't want to say it was because it was probably the coach, but did you prefer kind of coming off the bench instead of starting, kind of giving that extra spark? How did that like make you feel, and how did that motivate you down the line?
Yeah, no, good question. It's funny because like obviously I did come off the bench the second half of the season, but like seeing people I've seen like, and I shouldn't care about it at all, but I've seen people say like, oh, like he was just a bench player, like he got lucky, whatever. It's like I was a bench player, but I came off the bench, but like I played 35 minutes a game, so I never like considered myself like a bench player. But also it just goes back to like with our team, like we were all just willing to do whatever it was that our coach expected or wanted from us to win. And for me, like the beginning of the year, I started the first maybe 12, 14 games, whatever it was. I'm not 100% sure. But I started the first chunk of the season. And to be honest, like I got into a little bit of a slump in like December, early January time. And my coach, he then was like, okay, we got to bring you off the bench. We're gonna bench you for well, not bench you, but like we're taking you out of the starting lineup and we're gonna switch things up and put someone else in there. And I was trying to be like a great teammate, and I was like, okay, like I understand, like I'm gonna still do my role and whatever. And he was mad at me then. He's like, you're supposed to be pissed. Like you're supposed to be mad. I'm taking your starting spot away. And I was like, okay, my bad. Like, I guess I'm pissed, whatever. Yeah. But then a couple games later, like I hadn't really quite started playing better. And I'll never forget, he like pulled me to the side and basically told me like, you're like one of the biggest pieces of this team. If you don't pick things up, if you don't play up to your potential, up to like what I know you're capable of, then like this whole season is going to be your fault that we don't win a championship. And I was like,
Damn.
damn, okay, I guess like I need to lock in and figure this
Yeah,
out.
that's dark.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, bro. He was just gonna blame you and nobody else, bro.
I mean, I think that's one thing that like, and we had that type of relationship at that point. Like he knew kind of how to push my buttons, and I'm sure he wouldn't have said that to like every player he's ever coached. So, at that point, like it was the next game. It was like perfect timing. It was kind of like almost like a storybook type thing. Like that was the day before we played UW Milwaukee, which is a team that I had circled on the calendar the whole year. That's my like hometown school. I went to all their basketball camps growing up. I'm from Milwaukee, and I had like 70 family and friends in attendance that day. So that was a game. I think I had like 28 points or something like that. Got out of my slump, and then the rest of the year kind of was smooth sailing after that. And I continued to come off the bench, but basically at the first media time out of the game, I would sub in and then play the rest of the game, like not coming out. So I really had no issue like playing. I was super happy to play 35, 36 minutes a game and had no issue like having another teammate start and get the game going in the right direction, whether it's defensively or with rebounding or whatever else they brought to the table.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. I mean, obviously, when people get moved to the bench, you either look at it one or two ways, obviously, and you try to look at it from the let's be a team player perspective, and you got shitted on for that for no reason. But I mean, that's still great, man. And I want to kind of real quick go into the last question here. It's more of a, I know I texted you about it too, but I'm going to ask you again about your time in Oklahoma City. I just kind of want to hear like how your time was. What did you learn a lot from? Did you learn anything crazy from that, or who was like your mentors back then and whatnot? Being in that time in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Like, there's been a lot of things that have happened for me. What I think kind of out of the whole March Madness situation that I just never could have expected or planned for. And playing in the NBA Summer League is one of them. Like I never kind of expected, especially when I was in high school or at Hillsdale or even, at Oakland, to be honest, like I never expected to be playing in the Summer League, playing in the G League, all that type of stuff. So that was an opportunity I was super excited for. I was there with a bunch of great players at the Thunder, with the Thunder organization. And obviously it's such a tremendous organization. They do things the right way. Got to meet like Sam Presti, and he kind of laid out the expectations for us. With that summer. Obviously it wasn't like a full season with the team or anything like that, but they held us to the same standards. There was, a bunch of little things. Jerseys had to be tucked in the whole practice. The basketballs had to be put back on the rack with the logo facing out perfectly, like all that type of stuff. Just kind of shows how they operate as a testament to them as an organization. And I think why they have so much consistency, because they care about the little things. And of course, sometimes that stuff can seem dumb. It can seem stupid, but I think like as a player who's been around a lot of different situations, I think like that stuff really does matter. And I think they're only going to continue to be successful, obviously, because of the talent that they have, but also because of the people that they have leading the organization as a whole. And how they choose the talent that they bring in is really important.
Yeah, no, man, that's awesome. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to ask you about that too, just because I was a Thunder fan, so I want to just kind of hear your time with the team and whatnot. But yeah, so I appreciate you coming on, Jack, and I appreciate Gavin too for taking his time on his day to come here as well. And thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy with G League. You're moving different cities every other night, man. But I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your story, sharing your time in March Madness and the college basketball. And we appreciate you for the moments and memories you gave us for that. So thank you so much, man. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been fun. Appreciate it.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys next time.